Meltdown Comics in Los Angeles, you can always find plenty of comic book geeks. But tonight you can also find plenty of nerds. That's because the Nerdist himself, Chris Hardwick, is in the house for the release of his book, The Nerdist Way. So you're the host of Talking Dead on AMC after The Walking Dead show.
Yes, sir.
You're the gadget guy for G4, stand-up comedy.
Yes.
And I remember the days of Singled Out. Now
I sort of remember those days.
Now that was kind of like a jockey show compared to all this other stuff. So we have this advent of nerd culture over the past 10 years. How does it feel to kind of be a big part of that and kind of come into your own in that regard?
It's funny, I think if you were to watch the old Single Out episodes, which I don't recommend, but if you did, what you would see is this awkward kid making horrible comments about the people who were on the show, just like super nerdy references. But it didn't really register with anyone at the time. I was so uncomfortable on that show.
And that's what I think is great about it, because now you're still the same guy, and now what you do is kind of recognize this becomes such a part of pop culture. This geek and the nerd is kind of coming into their own with superhero movies and things like that. How do you feel about that?
I think I just got lucky that, I mean, just for career-wise, that the rest of society sort of morphed into just the things that I already liked. So yeah, if that hadn't happened, I'd still be going to Comic-Cons and stuff. It just might not be a career. So I guess I got lucky. Thank you, America. Thank you for embracing all of the things that we love.
You know this is the book party, right?
When did you know that you were a nerd? And as a follow-up, when did you accept that you were a nerd?
I didn't, just back in those days, we didn't think in those terms. I just knew that I knew that I was into stuff that other kids were not into.
Now let's talk semantics between nerd and geek.
Yeah.
You consider yourself a nerd, and the Nerdist himself, so I could always consider myself a geek because I was heavy into comic books. I read Secret War 2, things like that, and talked about it all the times with my friends. So I geeked out on that. That was a thing that I knew a lot about. I was really passionate about.
Yeah.
And nerd, my brother's a computer programmer, and he was a math major in college. That was the nerd to me,
Yeah.
So that I had that kind of reference. Where did you kind of determine you were the nerd?
Well, we didn't use I think regionally where I grew up in Tennessee, and we just used the word, nerd was the word that got used. It wasn't geek. I think, although a lot of people in both camps would probably strongly disagree with this, I think we're all saying the same thing. Yeah. You can get really granular and say, well, but no, nerds like math and they write code, and geeks like sci-fi, but it's like we all tend to like kind of the same things. But if you ask either side, they will cite the other as the weaker class. Yeah. No. I mean, I'm into this stuff, but the geeks over there. But I think we're really all sort of saying the same thing. I am super into this particular thing. I'm kind of awkward, and I'm really passionate about the stuff that I love.
Oh, this is kind of fun. Dr. Xavier in your mind. Your brain doesn't mean to lead you in bad directions. It really has what it perceives to be your best interests at heart. It's just that, unless properly trained, it usually takes only into account your short-term happiness, because it just wants you to feel good in the immediate moment. Get drunk in the morning! Eat 50 crocodiles! Instead of working, you could masturbate! Not me, Mom.
I think that's something you kind of touch upon in your book. It's kind of like a how-to guide for a lot of the people that are growing up still feeling awkward about things. I got made fun of and I felt awkward and did all those kind of things, but at the same time, I felt like I was passable because I played sports and did other things too. So yeah, I know. And then it's like, but there's even sports geeks out there too, people that can like recite statistics to me. They're geeky just as bad as we are if we can recite comic book history.
One of them's on my podcast, Matt Myra. Like, he can tell you everything about the Boston Red Sox. He knows all the figures. He knows everyone who's ever played, who's ever picked up a bat. He'll also tell you anything you want to know about NASA. Like, it's just all the figures. I mean, they are really, they're like a real life video game, I guess. So I understand it, but I still don't get sports.
And that's what I appreciate about the book, though. You kind of are kind of preaching being well-rounded and kind of getting outside your comfort zone for people that do feel awkward still to this day, even though it's kind of becoming more and more accepted by society. When did you kind of decide this was a passion that you want to kind of do this reach out?
It was really, I guess maybe like 5 years ago, I sort of realized oh, there's enough niche-y things because of the number of channels of satellite television and because of the internet. I can actually work doing things that I care about because there are outlets with big enough audiences that will support that. So it really was just technology just made it all possible.
Signing a Kindle. Awesome.
Cool. That's cool.
It's amazing.
It's actually a Nook.
Oh, this is a Nook.
Yes.
It is a Nook.
There weren't gadget guys in the 90s, they're just if you said the word nerd in the entertainment business, people were like, what, those weirdos? No, we're not going to program for them. It's too niche, and now it's all about niche culture and like the like specific things that we like. So it was just a total accident of just the way it worked out that we even are able to do that as a career.
And plus, they did the rebranding because you had like Tech TV went to G4 and things like that. Oh, that's
Right.
cooler, that's hipper, and it kind of became more acceptable to even the jock crowd and things like that. They kind of found, I think, their own little nerd areas that they like too.
I mean, it's just so integrated into our culture now. Like kids who are growing up now just have technology everywhere and they have the internet everywhere, and it's just a little more gray about like, that guy's a nerd, that guy's not a nerd. I mean, it's pretty clear sometimes.
Yeah.
But for the most part, just because it's a part of our society now, it's, it gets grayer.
I have such a soft spot for people who get picked on and bullied and,
It's from 3rd grade until I mercifully left the school in 7th grade. I was Will the Pill.
Oh, do you have a drug problem in school? You actor kids.
but there's still the mouth breathers, like you said, out there that
There's
have
still a lot of mouth breathers
that
out there.
have that kind of have that helping hand. So what do you think is the number one tip, something from your book or something like that, that kind of helps them get out of their comfort zone and become more socially aware?
Well, I think it's, the biggest one of the biggest traits of nerds is that, we just beat ourselves up so much. So it's really just kind of going easy on yourself and knowing that you can ignore the internal monologue in your brain, and do things that you want to do. And you should be, you should embrace the things that you love. And I think people are doing that more and more now, because the internet, it does provide support structure for, you see, like 20 years ago, you might be the only guy in your town that would put on, that would try to cosplay in some sort of really specific sci-fi thing. But now, no matter how specific you think you are, there's a ton of other people that you can find that are also into that thing. Yeah. So the connectiveness of the connectivity of our culture now makes that all possible.
The Nerdist Way is on bookshelves now, and if you're a nerd that likes to do your reading digitally, you can also pick it up where digital books are sold. For Time Warner Cable at Meltdown Comics in Los Angeles, I'm Noah Park.
For all the latest SoCal 101 programming information, be sure to sign up for our free weekly e-newsletter at socal101tv.com/newsletter. Plus, you can follow us online through Twitter and Facebook using the handle SoCal101TV.